Hi guys, welcome to Natasha's Narrative. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. Completely messed that up. That's what happens when you take months out of filming. Be honest, I have to be honest, because I promise I'll be honest.
He used to be so racist, but he was black himself. I don't understand that.
But yeah, that's how I got into 3 medical schools out of 4.
I'm gonna be so rude when it's cool.
Scriptures regarding anger. The main reason I want to make this video is to talk about things that I wish I had known, or things that I wish I had done earlier on in the placement, or not earlier on in the placement, earlier on in the year, or like completely. The first thing I want to talk about is making a conditions list. Obviously there are multiple conditions that you're going to study during your time doing medicine. If you can do it earlier, so maybe at the beginning of each module, clicking through the presentations that are available, that is a good idea, just because there are so many conditions that are going to be examined at the end of the year. And yes, I do think there is an importance of lectures, don't get me wrong, but I think that like ultimately you need to have a good understanding of the conditions and their management and treatment, especially at the university I'm at. I didn't think originally the exams were going to be that management treatment heavy, but having sat through like the 2 mock exams and the summative, which is like the real exam, I realised that yes, there was a lot of management and treatment in there. If you can, maybe do it with some of your peers, because there are so many conditions and you can kind of split them into different chunks and go through them together, and that way you're not too overwhelmed. And there's, like I said, if you either do it pre-block or as you go along, it means that you're not overwhelmed. Number 2, this is something that I definitely mentioned in the aging placement video, is please get your sign-offs done as soon as possible, guys, because it's just so overwhelming when like, it's okay to have like 500 word essay here and there, but when you've got like 5 of them and then 1,001, you are literally just sitting in your room, you're panicking, your exams are coming up. Like, really just time manage effectively. And I think like my time management skills kind of dwindled a little bit, and I think that's because obviously I spent first year doing uni during a pandemic. When you do uni during a pandemic, because you're not really attending lectures, like you're not leaving your house to go to lectures, there is a lot of time that's saved. And because like, obviously I love the fact that in second year we go to placement and stuff, but that's time that's obviously spent outside of the house where you're not actually doing revision. So it means that you have to be more effective in your time management, especially because now other things come into play, like hanging out with friends, being involved in societies, this, that and the other. So really time manage effectively, and I would say come up with a plan as to when you want to get your sign-offs done. Number 3, obviously using great sites like Past Medicine. So Past Medicine is free if you're in years 1 to 3. This is not an ad, this is just a resource that I found helpful. I'll try and make a compilation of some more free resources. I do believe that I also posted some. If you follow Natasha's Narrative on Instagram, I made a post about free resources that you can use, but I'll try and include some more. And the reason why is because yeah, it's just a similar format to what you would expect to see at med school. Yeah, so you're basically choosing the single best answer. So a lot of the answers are quite similar and it can be quite hard to distinguish between them. So that's why it's good to get into the practice of doing them. Yeah, you can do them with friends. That can also be quite helpful. Another thing that I would say to do definitely is to form some sort of study group, guys. It's just medicine, like I said before so many times, it's really, really competitive, and it's one of them ones where like you have to try and put your imposter syndrome-ness to the side, because if you think that your superhero behavior of thinking like I can sort everything by myself, I can do everything by myself, or soloist behavior is going to get you through, you will flop. It's just so much content to learn, and it is sometimes a lot easier to just do things in a group and bang out those questions together. I went to like a couple of group sessions with different friends, and honestly I think in some of those group sessions I learned more than I did in like 3 revision sessions by myself. I'm not saying always revise in a group, because sometimes that can be quite distracting, but I think there definitely is a lot of good that comes out of it, especially sometimes when you're the one that's teaching, because as you teach, you're also kind of like reconsolidating that knowledge again and again, and it makes you just more confident. Yeah, so I would say definitely make sure to form groups. This is not an exhaustive list, guys, by the way, of things I think you should do, but I'm just going to give a fifth and final piece of advice. And again, it's something that I really did note a lot about in the aging placement video, and that is before placement and after placement, make notes, especially if you know what ward you're going to. So if you know you're going to a cardiac ward, or you know you're going to A&E, or you know that you're going to trauma, or whatever it is, ENT, go over the key conditions, because 90% of the time a consultant, a registrar, an F1 and F2 is going to come up to you and ask you questions. And if you're like me, I know but I hate not being able to answer things. It's also it can be quite a bad trait, because pride can start to seep in, but working through it, Jesus. But it's nice to be able to go in there and actually seem like you care and seem like you're trying to learn. And I think the more that you actually know, the more that you end up getting out of placement. Whereas if you just go in kind of like not having a clue, like, you just don't interact as much sometimes, because you're just too shy and too scared to say what you know, because you're scared of how you'll look. But yeah, I think it's the best way. I think it's the best way to learn, and I feel like doctors end up pushing you more and more. Like, obviously, if you're going to a diabetes ward, like, know the difference between type 1 and type 2. Know the different you know, short-acting insulin, long-acting insulin, etc. You don't have to know everything that you learned from that lecture and be regurgitating everything, because obviously you forget things. But I think having just a great solid basis that you can show to the doctors that you do know what you're talking about is good. How people perceive you does not equal your self-worth. However, I do think that it's good to have, especially your superiors, think that you are well read and are doing well, because they're more likely to obviously speak well of you. And like, if you're interested in doing audits or projects or shadowing during the summer or outside of uni hours, they're more likely to take you on. So I think it is very important to seem interested. And lastly, obviously, this is a very obvious one. I forgot I said 5, but let me just add a little bit. Yeah, don't be late to placement. It's just really unprofessional. Be on time, look well dressed, don't look like you've, you know, just come out of the bushes. Whether you're wearing scrubs or you're wearing, you know, formal clothes, just look put together. And yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about things that I wish I had done. Okay, I was always well dressed, so that was not an issue. That's just a pointer for some. Oh, that sounds shady. Let me remove that. Not saying that people weren't well dressed, but yours. That's just a reminder to not come in looking shabby, or just not as formal as possible, and also to not be late. Like, it just reflects on your professionalism. I know sometimes at the beginning of placement you can be really excited, and towards the end you're like, I can't be bothered to go in anymore, or to come in on time. But it's just best for you to, you know, exhibit professionalism throughout. So that's the end of this video. I hope that you found it helpful. I tried to keep it short and sweet, because it's actually the summer, it's actually hot, and we actually have antics to be doing, things to be doing, and also I think it's just easier to take in the information if I keep it like. But yeah, that's all I have to say today. Thank you for watching my video, guys. So bye, guys. You'll see me soon for another video.